nalipa tax na hata siwezi afford kupanda taxi. Kwa banki sina kakitu, siwezi afford hata shati. Maji nanywa ya kanjo yako ya chupa za mapambo. Nalipia mtoto wako elimu ya bure ya juu. Unanipa ya bure lakini ya utu. Oh no. So nitapata wapi majibu ya maswali? Mahindi lienda wapi? Pia shilingi ya shule za msingi. Paula mtume, mbona jela usimtume? Lazima abuniwe tume. Lazima abuniwe tume. Mapenzi ndizo hali mabasa tulificha kwa kabati. Kazi kwa vijana, pesa kwa wazee. Tulimangamanga mpaka za maded I say. Lazima abuniwe tume. Lazima abuniwe tume. Oh. Sheria. Oh. Sheria. Sheria. Fuata. Sheria. Sheria. Oh, oh. Sheria. Yeah, yeah. Fuata. Sheria. 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 Oh, oh. Fuata. Sheria. Sheria. Pia wewe mwananchi, tabia zako ziko chini. Unapenda kulipa hongo na kutumia njia za uongo. Una mipango na hata watoto wa kando. Haujui hata majina yao. Kura yako uliuza maini figo, ukakulia hadi dini. Kisha wasema tukuthamini, na wewe hapo hauaminiki. Na wewe hapo haupangiki.
Wapi kidero when you need to slap somebody? Complain ufisadi kwani ulidhani t-shirt 50 bob leso siku ya campaign ilikuwa free? Ni 5 year loan investment, utalipa kingia parliament. We are one, amani we are one. Na utumishi kwa wote, utu missing CCTV we were watching. Racial insecurity na job opportunity ni kama mti ya kibiriti. Side moja heavy, usiniambie Kenya kuna umaskini, kwani hizi fat fingers zinaibia nane? Maskando ina threaten our survival. Media define leadership, na sura ukiaka front page na improve readership. Ambia wase wa Twitter wa hashtag hii ama hash reality doesn't make a good TT. Commission of inquiry wanakula commission bila kutupa ukweli. Ni kubaya mpaka kukiwa kuzuri unashindwa nini mbaya. Machozi ya perpetrator ineza dilute damu ya victim ilimwagika. After all is said and done, all will be said, nothing will be done. You're not my tribe, but you're my blood type. Like it it doesn't have to take tragedy to know that.
Sheria.
Welcome. This is WaNjeri right here with you on Sheria Dive right here on Power Radio. Karibuni sana. It's just lovely to be able to talk to you this Saturday afternoon. I don't know what's happening with the weather, guys. In the morning, rumor had it that it was going to be a rainy afternoon. But now there's some sun outside, so it's really hard to understand what is happening. But anyway, I hope wherever you are, you're having a lovely time. Remember, tomorrow is the 20th of October, which is a holiday. And under the law, when a holiday falls on a Sunday, then it crosses over onto Monday, which means on Monday, people are also on holiday. So that means you've got the long weekend. I don't know what you're planning to do with it. Let us know in the chat section of our YouTube Live. And also you can just reach out to us on the socials at Power Radio, at James K. WaNjeri. Today, we're answering that question. Do we have a deputy president in Kenya now? What's happening, man? Last week was a whirlwind tour. Kufumba na kufumbua. Things were moving very, very quickly. Actually, not last week, but this past week. Things have been happening too quickly now. I don't think people are getting enough time to just, lick some glucose and rest. So we're going to be trying to answer that question. Do we have a deputy? Who is a deputy president, if we have one? And secondly, can you have an acting chief justice? Can an answer to one actually be an answer to the other as you talk about the deputy president issue? Tuko pamoja. Let's get some music today. Remember, the artist feature is Eric Wainaina. Of course, Ben and I have agreed in studio. We have to play Njia Kitu Kidogo. I think it's an amazing song. But then we're going to listen to 5 Eric Wainaina songs you've probably not heard before. And if you've heard, then that means you're a super fan. So the super fans, I hope you get shocked by the choices. I've not looked at the list. This is all Bena. So if you want to crucify someone, crucify Bena. So I gave him the I gave him the memo. Let's go.
Mama Luka, yule igweta inene, we umwe wale, makire kurale. Mukehanda, mahoa mehakaine, mukerutolola, uko marimaine. Cianyu, ugisigaira kihara, ya gutengera, udaka mupira. Ni wadekirwo, wira wa thirikari, bururi mwethe, waihurite mieke. Quiero todo watunyirwa wera na pesa cia ritaya na nyumba yaku irahurirwo munara nyohoro wakia muno kono gicururi mbeca ciaku rũthingo-inĩ
Wow. My goodness, what a song. Let me tell you something. If you don't understand Kikuyu, that's an amazing song right there by Mr. Eric Wainaina. And basically, it's a blessing song. It's a type of thing you tell the person when you're blessing them. Basically, he's saying, may your cows never stop producing milk. You know what that means is that you're just living in a space of abundance. What a beautiful and lovely song. That's Eric Wainaina with Mama Luka. Okay, let's get the number 2 song. Remember, once we're done with the 5, I'm going to be asking you which one was your favorite or which one did you like me not know. So I have to confess, I've actually never heard this song before, Mama Luka, and oh my God, I love it. But we're going to be voting at the end. So let's go.
Beside me, may the sun keep on shining. Ninangoja yako timing, nakuweka mbele kwenye grinding, stuck in the middle of the violence. Streets inawika bado sirens, mitandao tumejaza nonsense, but most of us are suffering in silence.
Pressure iko, siku hizi tunafuata mitindo, forgotten how to keep it simple. Oh Jaja, come save your people. Tumejaza kiburi na maringo, wengi tumeshikilia hiko, wengine tumebeba mizigo. We never learn how to let go.
Hao wengi tunatafuta mapenzi kwa mapeni, mwishowe tunatoka bila eni. Masano machache, mambo mengi, a race that's never ending. Bio, 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 bio. Running to a place that we never ever ever been. No, Dio, 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 Dio. It's the only way we're gonna see the things that we never see. No. been.
Okay.
Oh, Dio, 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 Dio. It's the only way we're gonna see the things that we never see. No.
Niseme nisiseme.
Oh.
Niseme nisiseme. Si mlevi akisema kitu ya maana ataambiwa ni ulevi, na mtoto akijaribu kukosoa mtu mzima si ataambiwa ni utoto. Yaani saa zingine kuwa na roho nzuri kuwa ni mbaya. Wengine wakisikia unapata big money ndio wanaanza kuvutia waya. Wasikudanganye. Some want to change because they envy you. Na kufurahisha mmoja, sometimes itabidi ukanyage mwingine. Mimi najuaga utamu ya pesa juu nilizoaga kukosa. So najifunza kujinyima ndio nijikumbuke nikipata. Na wakidhani nitamalizia verse hapo, mimi nawamalizia kwa verse hapa. Wewe unadhani kazi yako ni ngumu? Hebu jaribu kuwa stripper kwa Eskimo. Mungu Baba, asante sana. Tuliuliza kiatu for a minute, sasa tuko kwa jam tunapiga honi tusichelewe na flight. Yaani maisha ya haraka inaendaga tu hivyo haraka. Hakuna mwenye anataka kusaka, few days later anasakwa. Hakuna mwenye anataka kulilia kwa baiskeli, na option for sure sio kufeli. Tumekosa ma role models kwa generation, so tuna roll gode, alafu tunaomba God ata provide. Pick a side. Unataka kwa influence ama kwa influencer?
Running to a place that we never ever ever been. Dio, 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 Dio. It's the only way we're gonna see the things that we never see.
That we never see. Hey.
Dio, 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 Dio. Running to a place that we never ever ever been.
Running.
Dio, 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 Dio.
So fast.
The only way we're gonna see the things that we never see.
Yeah.
No.
Hakuna haja ya haraka. Don't go so fast. Put yourself first, also.
Only way we're gonna see the
the back.
things that we never see. True.
Bio. That had the band. I could hear that very clearly. I'm asking Bena, where was Eric Oinena in there? But the catalog says Eric Oinena is in that song. So Eric, were you the BV in the song or what was happening? But fantastic, fantastic song. I love it. I love it. Let's go to song number 3.
The policemen are taking position. The students are looking for justice again, drawing their lines in the sand, each waiting to see who's a man. They're choking on mounting frustration, mourning the state of the nation. Their hearts are aflame, their blood is on fire. Stones start to fly, politicians deny. Then who is to blame? Who is behind this? Who is in the shadows? Who lights the flame of this raging inferno and watches from high windows? What we need is justice, justice. Will you come and help me find this? What we need is justice, justice. Will you come and help me find? Teachers are running matatus, trying to make an extra shilling or two. The progress of students, it means nothing when there's no bread on the table, no money for shoes. So they take to the streets in demonstration, saying something isn't right with this equation. But the singing is stifled by rungus and rifles, uniformed police, here to keep the common peace. So who is to blame? Who is behind this? Who is in the shadows? And who lights the flame of this raging inferno and watches from high windows? Oh, our leaders, help us, help us. Oh, our leaders, help. Oh, our leaders, help us, help us. Oh, our leaders, help. Uyo, salite, uyo, salite, uyo. The policemen are taking position. The farmers are looking for justice again. If farmers are bleeding, there can't be any feeding, leaving us hungry, longing for justice. Then who is to blame? Who is behind this? Who is in the shadows? Who lights the flame of this raging inferno and watches from high windows? Who is to blame? Who is behind this? Who is in the shadows? And who lights the flame of this raging inferno and watches from high windows? Oh, our leaders, help us, help us. There's someone trying to save us. Oh, our leaders, justice, justice. Will you come help me find? Uyo, 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 salite, uyo, 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 salite, uyo, 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 salite, uyo, uyo, salite, uyo.
Who is to blame? Eric Onen is asking the question. The teachers, they're not getting paid. The youth have gone to the streets, they've been shot. So who is to blame? Who is actually behind this? And I think that's a question we need to ask ourselves as Kenyans. Yeah? Who is actually behind this? Why is it that things are always sort of like this? I even think successive presidents, it's like there's always an attempt to shift our society negatively. All right? And we need to ask actually, who is behind this? Because Kenyans actually are looking forward to a wonderful and a bright future in their country. That's what we want. So I think maybe if we know who is to blame and who is behind this, maybe we can deal with it. That's a question Eric is asking. Who is behind this? But I also know someone is listening to this, and one day you'll have an opportunity to change that. If not now, if you have it now, you take that opportunity. But one day you'll have an opportunity to actually change and make those things better. You could be seated somewhere in an office. You could be a policeman somewhere. You could be a politician. You could be a teacher. You could be a parent. You could be a brother or a sister. You could be a student. All those things. And in that space, you do what it takes to change the Kenyan narrative. Because this is a beautiful, beautiful and a blessed country. Kenyan Ikwetu. Let's go. Eric Wenena now coming in with number 4. Let's go.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Tell your mother, no need to pray for you. I've got it covered. You're safe beneath my roof. Got so much time on my hands. You're at the heart of my plans. Tell your father die for you.
Live for you, die for you. I do anything, carry your guilt for you, absolve you, rid you of your sin. Live for you, die for you. I do anything, carry your guilt for you, absolve you, rid you of your sin.
Survive and love. It's something I do for you. Crazy love. They give me dower, but I refuse. Oh yeah, I'm here for all the unknown. Shake it up in the kaleidoscope. Tell your father I would die for you.
Live for you, die for you. I do anything, carry your guilt for you, absolve you, rid you of your sin. Live for you, die for you. I do anything, carry your guilt for you, absolve you, rid you of your sin. Live for you, die for you. I do anything, carry your guilt for you, absolve you, rid you of your sin. Live for you, die for you. I do anything, carry your guilt for you, absolve you, rid you of your sin. Live for you, die for you. I do anything, carry your guilt for you, absolve you, rid you of your sin. Live for you, die for you. I do anything, carry your guilt for you, absolve you, rid you of your sin. Live for you, die for you. I do anything, carry your guilt for you, absolve you, rid you of your sin. Live for you, die for you. I do anything, carry your guilt for you, absolve you, rid you of your sin. Live for you, die for you. I do anything, carry your guilt for you, absolve you, rid you of your sin. Live for you, die for you. I do anything, carry your guilt for you, absolve you, rid you of your sin.
Tell your mother. Tell your mother I would die for you. That's a very bold statement to make. Not just tell someone I'll die for you, but tell your mother I'll die for you. Hapo inakaa kuna mama ya mtu alikuwa amefrustrate jamaa hapo. Tell your mother I'll die for you. Like, you have to pass the mother hurdle. And most people know what I'm talking about. When you pass the mother hurdle, then things are a bit smoother after that. Ama namna gani? Now, this song is together with TLVSN, and we're not going to say television, because I don't think that's what it means. But this is actually a duo comprising of Timothy Arinaitwe and Vincent Gugi. And Vincent Gugi, I know him because we were in Upper Hill School together. So, you know what that means? He's a guy to watch out for because, Upper Hill School gives you the best of the best. Talking about Sauti Soul. And, of course, one Mr. Antonio Soul, who's also listening to the show this afternoon. Anyway, Vincent Gugi together with Timothy Arinaitwe. Please check out their music online and let's support these young and new artists. Now we are at song number 5, and then this is 5 songs, or these are 5 songs by Eric Wainaina that you probably have never heard about, but now you have. So is there any song that you've actually heard before and that I've played? You can use the live chat feature on YouTube. I'll be looking out for your comments, and also you can just give us a shout out on the socials at Power Radio, at James K. WaNjeri. Let's get the final song, and then when we come back, we answer today's question. How many deputy presidents does Kenya have now? Oh, I would hate to be someone in a GHC exam. And the fact that I've said GHC, of course, you know my age, because apparently these are kids, it's social studies. How can it be social studies? It is GHC. And millennials are very woke because of GHC. So anyway, I'd also like to hear from the social studies crew. How many deputy presidents do we have in Kenya now? And what is happening? And can there be an acting deputy or an acting chief justice? Does that role actually exist? Because there is no deputy president without a chief justice. So let's see. Let's get song number 5, and then we take off.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Mzee alisema hakuna cha bure, huo msemo tumeutafsiri kinyume. Hata shule kuingiza mtoto lazima utoe mchoto. Kupata simu ni bala, road license bei nafuu utanunua. Kupoteza ID ni mashaka, twarudisha jamhuri yetu nyuma. Nchi ya kitu kidogo ni nchi ya watu wadogo. Ukitaka chai ewe ndugu, nenda Limuru. Hata nyumbani ukipatwa na majambazi, kupiga 99 masema sisi hatuna gari. Lete 5,000 ya petroli, saidia utumishi. Mahakamani hela ndiyo haki, kwa 1,000 chache mshtakiwa ndiwe mshtaki. Utajiri huwa ushahidi, twarudisha jamhuri yetu nyuma. Jamani, nchi ya kitu kidogo ni nchi ya watu wadogo. Ukitaka soda ewe inspector, burudika na Fanta. Nchi ya kitu kidogo ni nchi ya watu wadogo. Ukitaka chai ewe mama, nunua Ketepa. Huko Kenyatta madawa zimeisha, mashiti za uzwa marikiti 100 kwa 100. Wafanyi kazi waenda miezi bila pesa, ni bahati ukitibiwa. Mzigo wetu unazidi kuwa mzito, watoto wanena mshahara wa 2500 ya vitabu na viatu na vyakula. Nauliza na mbotela, je, huu ni ugwana? Nchi ya kitu kidogo, ni nchi ya watu wadogo. Ukitaka chai ewe ndugu, nenda Limuru. Nchi ya kitu kidogo, ni nchi ya watu wadogo. Ukitaka chai ewe mama, nunua Ketepa.
Yes, that's my favorite Eric Wainaina song, Nchi ya Kitu Kidogo. How old were you when you heard this song? I remember I think this song was, and I remember Damaris actually told us, iyo ngoma si ya 90s, iyo ngoma ni ya 2002. Is it true? The year of the song? Eric Wainaina's Nchi ya Kitu Kidogo. But I remember how fantastic the video was and all these depictions, and I would be like, kwani Kenya kuna kaje? Tusitikie kurudisha hii nchi nyuma. Tumekataa hiyo story. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been one of those weeks. Of course, you know that on Tuesday and on Wednesday as well, we had the Senate listening to the case, or rather hearing the case against the Deputy President, Mr. Gachagua, and they made a vote, and the vote was to say, guy is out. This is the first time in the history of this country that a Deputy President has been impeached. Because previously, millennials and the people born before millennials might remember, you would find out on your lunch break whether you still work for the government of Mr. Moi or not. But even before that, when Kenyatta had Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, because GHC people know, social studies, are they teaching you this bit of history? Because I think this is history that needs to be taught in our school. Maybe the GHC gang can remember that Jaramogi Oginga Odinga was the first Kenyan vice president deputizing one Jomo Kenyatta. And that vice presidency has always been a very interesting time in our country, because Kenya was a new state. We were just new. We've come, but the president and his deputy are disagreeing on the direction of the country. And I remember some of those disagreements also was because there are those who felt like Jaramogi had socialist leanings, you know, because he had friends in Russia and all that. And you have these other guys who are putting themselves on the side of, you know, we are anti-socialism. And considering that we had the Cold War around this period, perhaps with some bit of hindsight, it's clear maybe to draw a parallel between that to see how Kenya was also in the midst of a Cold War drama and intrigues. But anyway, at that time, Jaramogi was openly disagreeing with the president and said the direction the country is taking, this is not what people wanted when we asked for, independence. So Jaramogi is thrown out, and one of the things they did was they had a KANU, because remember KANU was a party at the time. They had a KANU meeting, and he was the vice president of the party, and they decided to name 4 vice presidents, a feat that would later be repeated to one gentleman called Mr. Saitoti, who stood up at Kasarani and said, there comes a time when the nation is more important than an individual. I hope he said more important. But yes, George Saitoti had been in Kenyan politics for such a long time, and at that time he actually discovered that there comes a time when the nation is greater than an individual. Why was this realization being made? That is not even a statement that we need to hear. Of course, the nation is greater than the individual. That's why Article 1 of the Constitution of Kenya is very, very clear on the fact that the people are supreme and the people are the country. So we are always greater than any individual. That is the framework of the Constitution of this country and the reality. Of course, after that, a few more vice presidents were appointed, and they would be thrown out one after the other, until, of course, Jomo Kenyatta decided to appoint one Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. And of course, because of Kenya's intrigues at the time, then the question became, can we really let Moi succeed Jomo Kenyatta? At the time, you remember, of course, Moi's background was that he was a teacher. And because of this background as a teacher, there are those perhaps who felt like this guy, I don't think he has a chutzpah to actually handle this job. But they could not agree among themselves, these guys, as so the story goes. And so they decided, let the guy stay there for now, but then tutajipanga. Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi becomes president in 1978 after the death of Jomo Kenyatta. And Jomo Kenyatta had been sick for a very long time, because actually, I was reading media reports this other week, and they were saying that in 1969, he had an argument with Jaramogi in Mombasa. And the guy, bana pressure ilipanda, he couldn't even go on tours, he couldn't go on the planned trips that had been planned for him. Kenyatta loved the coast. He would always go down there to get some warm sun. And I hope you're also getting some warm sun as we deal with this Nairobi story. Change of weather. But yes, so at that time, imagine it took almost 9 more years for us, 1970. What year was it? 1974? And so at that time, it was just the realization that someone should have done something and said, hey, this guy will not make it. We cannot have a president in this condition. That's why one of the requirements, it was actually in 1978, the death of President Jomo Kenyatta in August 1978. And so, the president and the deputy president can both be impeached on grounds of physical incapacity. And I hope that's one of the things we'll see coming forward in future. A president should not be that ailing, surely. And you're in the hands of we're in your hands. And we understand, of course, also the role that the presidency plays. Anyway, President Moi becomes president, and of course, he also gets a few vice presidents who he also throws out. Some of them resign. Kibaki resigns and joins the opposition. And of course, during Moi's time, KANU was all in all. There was no multi-partyism allowed in Kenya until 1991, when Section 2A was repealed. And in 1992, we had the first multi-party elections. But even in those elections, Moi was able to trounce over the others. Of course, with a lot of claims that there was rigging and everything. But anyway, there are many stories about the 1992 election. But in 1997, another election comes. Of course, the current Prime Cabinet Secretary was Vice President of Mr. Moi. Of course, Saitoti was also there as a Vice President. And they seemed to have an understanding because they were together for a very long time. But of course, Saitoti was also thrown out. And now I reference that famous speech, there comes a time when the nation is greater than individual. Indeed, that time is now, and that time will always be the time, because no individual will ever be greater than this country. That is a promise. That is our constitution. That is our commitment to each other when we voted for this new constitution in August of 2010. August is a very interesting month in Kenyan politics and in how things happen. But as I said, this is the first time in this country someone is being impeached, because the 2010 constitution looked at these behaviors of Jomo Kenyatta, looked at the behavior of Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, and they said, "Apana, this one, something must change." Of course, Kibaki had Wamalwa as a vice president. Wamalwa then dies less than a year in office. And then Uncle Moody Awori becomes the vice president. And of course, he did a lot of work with the prisons and just making sure that also prisons are habitable, because the idea in Kenya is that what are we doing? We are trying to bring you back into the society. We are not, yes, we are punishing you for the offense you have committed, but our idea is not to send you to eternal damnation. Our prisons are places where you can go and you are rehabilitated. We believe in that. That is in our penal system, that yes, we are rehabilitating you. You should come out a better person. So I'm just sharing this for all those people you're going to be putting in jail someday in the future because of some of the things you're doing in this country. And you have to remember, a time comes, indeed, and that time will come, if it hasn't come already, where people actually take responsibility for their actions in this country. Anyway, the 2010 Constitution so says that at all times, there has to be a president and a deputy president, and the deputy president can be impeached on almost the same grounds as a president. So that is what happened the other day. Now, I want to try and have this conversation while juxtaposing it. Let me just throw that in there. Juxtaposing it with a different conversation, because sometime in 2020, one David Kenani Maraga wrote a letter on 11th December 2020, and he purported to appoint Philomena Mwilu upon his exit from office on 13th January 2021 to act as the Chief Justice of Kenya for a period not exceeding 60 days or until a new Chief Justice was appointed. That's what Maraga did in his letter. He said, "I hereby appoint Philomena Mwilu, the Deputy Chief Justice, to be the acting Chief Justice for a period not exceeding 60 days or until a new Chief Justice is appointed." And of course, our favorite public interest litigator, Okiya Omtata, went to court and said, "Wait a minute, hold up." Because also at the same time, there was a case against, or a complaint that had been made against Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu to the Judicial Service Commission. And so Omtata was asking some very interesting questions, which I hope we can be able to talk about together. But also, to answer the question at the end of the day, can you really be a deputy president without taking the oath of office? Can you? We look at what the Constitution provides, because that's the only way we can answer that question, who is the deputy president, but also looking at what's happening in court, because in this case, the court went to great detail to try and explain what is a conservatory order. And conservatory orders have been issued which say that Kindiki cannot be appointed, or rather cannot be sworn in. So these court orders were issued after Parliament had already completed its mandate, both the Parliament and the Senate. So what are conservatory orders, and why is that important for us? Leo ni ile siku, we're going to learn some law. Sawa sawa? But in the meantime, let's get some music, and then when we come back, we answer that very elusive question. Who is the Deputy President of Kenya now? It may not be as elusive as you think it is, actually, depending on how you interpret this Constitution. Let's go.
Pilogo no Wapiro kimaino Pero wadonjo kawono Wapiro kimaino Wanu Wapiro kimaino Pero wadonjo tinendo Wapiro kimaino Wapiro Wapiro kimaino Pero wadonjo kawono Wapiro kimaino, wano wapiro kimaino, ero wadonjo tinende. Wapiro kimaino. Satire is the attire we wearing. as we retire to the southern hemisphere. Jomilambo, mount your horses and get ready. Find your armor, your glig and glawach your molue. And now we're here, radio note, you gonna hear us. Wabiro gitonge go kumba wadungremo. Na washika bango mimi nina mpango ya kufanya mambo tukisonga. We're singing songs of freedom to the walls of Jericho. Yeah. Wapiro nyone, wapiro kinyone, nyone, wadanjo kone, nyone, wapiro kimaino, wano wapiro, ayo, wapiro kimaino, nende wapiro, wadanjo tinende, kema, wapiro kimaino, wapiro, ololorere, wapiro kimaino, ololorere, wadanjo kawono, chikiba, Namodong to chiongong, ayaye chiongong, namodong to loro mudo, nengano loro mudo, namodong to chiongong, ayaye chiongong, namodong to loro mudo, nengano loro mudo, obonya chogolanda magere gigori kogalo, managi manene, to yamomora winjo wacho pinyi pokondie kochamo, eno poniche. Obonya chogolanda magere gigori kogalo, managi manene, to yamomora winjo wacho pinyi pokondie kochamo, eno poniche. Wapiro, wapiro kimaino, ero wadonjo kawo, tinende, wapiro kimaino, matumano wapiro, wapiro kimaino, ero wadonjo tinende, wapiro kimaino, wapiro kimaino, ero wadonjo kawono, wapiro kimaino, wano wapiro, wapiro kimaino, ero wadonjo tinende, wapiro kimaino, wapiro kimaino, ero wadonjo kawono, wapiro kimaino, wano wapiro, wapiro kimaino, ero wadonjo tinende, wapiro kimaino, wapiro kimaino, ero wadonjo kawono, wapiro kimaino, wano wapiro, wapiro kimaino, ero wadonjo tinende, wapiro kimaino. Nengamodong to chiongong, ayaye chiongong, nengamodong to loro mudo, nengano loro mudo.
Basement. Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
It's a vibe, it's a party each and every jam station. Turn around, back it up, I wanna see you in rotation. Tuni meka kudu, kilo meka mkudu, usiogope kutoa wasimu. It's a vibe, it's a party each and every jam station. Vile umedunga, look at you, vibes zimechocha, zime come through. And I've been looking around, looking for someone like you. Won't you come my way too? Kuna wanati wamekuja na mavela, na mapinchi wanachuna na mahela, na kile nataka ni kukatika nawe, katika tena na tena, na kila mahali kumewaka tu mavela, na mapinchi wameshachafua meza, na kile nataka ni kukatika nawe, katika tena na tena. Oh, nisamehe. What I'm about to do, nikupeleke tu. Nisamehe. It's a vibe, it's a vibe, it's a vibe. It's a vibe, it's a party, each and every jam session.
Turn around.
Turn around, back it up, I wanna see you in rotation.
Wanna see you in rotation.
Nimekudu kile umekamkudu. Usiogope kutoa wasimu.
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe, it's a party, each and every jam session.
Come on, Savara na Kenches Muya, Waluya Bahana Kubatuya, Wale Wabaya pia we unatambua, fuata nyayo step piga hatua, kama ujui basi leo
utajua. Cheza na radaka, umekibebana, usilete nomaka, zimekushikana, bonga na roda, pale kwa kona,
toto kiboko pia wewe unaona,
anavyozungusha kiuno utakoma.
Mr. Selector usikatizie ngoma. It's a vibe.
It's a vibe, it's a party, each and every jam session. Turn around, back it up, I wanna see you in
I
rotation.
wanna see you in rotation.
Nimekudu kile umekamkudu. Usiogope kutoa wasimu. It's a vibe, it's a party, each and every jam session.
Bugini ya Rongai, matatu 1 to 5, warembo hits don't lie.
Bogi ya kimonyoski, juu ya timba na makaki, mangoto na manati.
Makuki na makeki, makali na majani, na tunaiwasha katikati.
Kizima tuna seti, basi roll ingine freshi, chini ya maji tuna
And I
meti.
don't wanna be your boyfriend, mi nataka one night stand.
Na vile umedunga, utafanya mini spend. Kichwa tu.
And I don't wanna be your boyfriend, mi nataka one night stand.
Na vile umedunga,
Utafanya mini spend. Oh no, 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 don't you know it's a vibe. It's a vibe, it's a vibe, yeah. Turn around,
Back it up,
I wanna see you in rotation, ooh yeah. Nimekudu,
umekamkudu.
usiogope kutoa wasimu, yeah, yeah.
Vibe, it's a party, each and every jam session. It's a vibe, it's a party, each and every jam session. Turn around, back it up, I wanna see you in rotation.
Yeah, it's a vibe. It's a vibe. That right there is Hat the Band together with Saudi Soul. It's a vibe. And before that, Castor Ojwang. Manze akona, he has a new album out, so please check him out on the socials. You can find his music. I think it's a wonderful music and it's fantastic just to hear more and more artists are getting into the space. Please, no imposter syndrome. Twende kazi. Now, I was just bringing your attention to this case that was filed sometime in 2020 because one Chief Justice David Maraga, his term was expiring. Okay? So on 11th December 2020, he writes a letter. Then he says, I am appointing Philomena Mwilu as the acting Chief Justice for a period of 60 days. Remember, the Chief Justice was meant to retire on 12th January 2021, and he was writing this on 11th December 2020. And so Mr. Okiya Omtata went to court and asked, wait a minute, does an outgoing Chief Justice have capacity to usher an acting Chief Justice into office without that appointee taking an oath of office pursuant to Article 74 of the Constitution? That's a very interesting question. Are you a Chief Justice by appointment, or are you a Chief Justice when you take the oath of office? And can an outgoing Chief Justice decide to appoint another Chief Justice that, hey, you are here, you're going to be acting for me and acting on my behalf? Ladies and gentlemen, that question was put to the court. Now, according to Mr. Okiya Omtata, his view was that only the JSC had the capacity to recommend to the president a person to be appointed into the office of the Chief Justice, even in an acting capacity, if allowance for that had been made in the Constitution. In the absence of a substantive Chief Justice to delegate duties and give direction, a Deputy Chief Justice cannot act on his or her own volition. Sawa sawa? Now, Omtata also said that the appointment of the Deputy Chief Justice to be an acting Chief Justice upon the expiry of term in office by the current Chief Justice had no basis in law. Now, of course, you know, uko kama ofisi, and sometimes when in government, you hear there's an acting CEO, acting. You know, there's that term acting. Can that actually be done in the judiciary? Okay. Now, he makes reference to Section 5(4) of the Judicial Service Act. And he says, the Deputy Chief Justice can only act as a Chief Justice for a period not exceeding 6 months, pending the appointment of a new Chief Justice in accordance with the Constitution in the event of the removal, resignation, or death of the Chief Justice. It does not apply when an incumbent Chief Justice, one who is leaving, vacates office in accordance with Article 167(1)(2) of the Constitution. So are you... Basically, what the petitioner here, Mr. Mtata, was saying is there's only a provision made for the Deputy Chief Justice to act as a Chief Justice for a period not exceeding 6 months where 3 things happen. Number 1, in the event the Chief Justice is removed. Number 2, in the event the Chief Justice resigns. And number 3, in the event of the death of the Chief Justice. Luckily for us, we can discuss the death of a Chief Justice without being called treasonous. It's just law, you know? Hint, hint. Anyway, now, this question was presented to the court, and the court now had to answer it because during that time, even the acting Chief Justice, as she was known then, had actually had made some decisions, okay? Some decisions had been made with regards to her acting role. So what is the importance of the oath of office? Okay? What is the importance of the oath of office? It is important to ensure that before you answer that question, the first place you need to start is in the Constitution, isn't it? What does the Constitution say? So let's look at Article 149 on the Deputy President. It says, within 14 days after a vacancy in the office of the Deputy President arises, the President shall nominate a person to fill the vacancy, and the National Assembly shall vote on the nomination within 60 days after receiving it. They had 60 days. I think they did it within hours. You wonder really what the rush is for. If the process has been done and it has been done okay, there's no hurry. Anyway, 2, if a person assumes office as Deputy President, then for the purposes of Article 148(8), the person shall be deemed to have served a full term as Deputy President if at the date on which the person assumed office more than 2.5 years remain before the date of the next regularly scheduled election, okay? Or to be held not to have served as a term of office as Deputy President in any other case. So basically, if you become a Deputy President and more than 2.5 years remain, okay, in the lifetime of the presidency at the time, then you'll be held to have served 1 term. That's a full term, if you serve more than 2.5 of it. So we need to check the dates for Mr. Kindiki Abraham. So we check whether he actually falls under that. But then, the Chief Justice is required to take the oath of office, even in line with Schedule 3. Okay? Look at Article 148(5). It says, the Deputy President-elect assumes office by taking and subscribing the oath or affirmation of allegiance and the oath or affirmation for the execution of the functions of office as prescribed in the 3rd schedule. All right? Now, some have argued this talks about a Deputy President-elect. However, if you look at the what we call Ascension of Office Act that exists in Kenya, this act basically deals with how do we bring in a new president? What needs to happen? Because the Constitution makes a requirement for it that you need to create rules that guide us on how should a president be sworn in and all that. Those things you see people doing there, those things are in the constitution and they're in the law. They are actually requirements. They are not just we're not just being ceremonial. And I think this is one of the things we need to understand. The constitution makes very clear provisions on what needs to happen the day someone is being sworn in. Okay? Now, the Assumption of Office of the Office of President Act provides that when the president is being sworn in, it must be done in public. It must be done between 10 a.m. and not later than 2 p.m. That's under Section 13. Okay? Now, let's start with that Section 13. The president-elect shall, during the swearing-in ceremony, take and subscribe the oath or affirmation of allegiance and the oath or affirmation for the execution of the functions of office in accordance with Article 141 of the Constitution. The oath or affirmation shall be administered to the president-elect by the chief registrar. So it is a chief registrar who administers the oath. That's why you always see the chief registrar there. Si kipindi. It's not like they're like, who do we call? Weye kuja. That does not happen. The chief registrar is the one to administer the oath. And that oath is administered before the Chief Justice, or in the absence of the Chief Justice, the Deputy Chief Justice. And it cannot be done earlier than 10 or later than 2. But the Deputy Chief Justice is allowed to undertake that task only in circumstances where the Chief Justice is incapacitated. That's a very important point to make. The Chief Justice has to be present when the Deputy President is, when the President is being sworn in. All right? And even the Deputy President. The only time the Deputy Chief Justice should step in is when the Chief Justice is incapacitated. Now, if you look at the meaning of that word incapacitated, it's to be deprived of capacity or natural power, made incapable of or unfit for normal functioning. Now, that's the English definition. In law, you have to determine what a word means, because not all words are English words. They may appear in English, but they are not actually English words. The Act itself does not define that term, incapacitated or incapacity. It does not say what that specific incapacity means. But the legal definition is to lack legal qualification, number one, due to age or mental condition. Okay? You are incapable. And I think this would also work where, for instance, maybe the Chief Justice gets very sick and is admitted in hospital, as we have seen. Then the Deputy Chief Justice steps in only on those conditions. Now, part of the question that was being asked is, when it comes to the Chief Justice, can the acting Chief Justice just be appointed by the outgoing Chief Justice? We credit Maraga with a lot of decisions, and some of them are very good decisions, and even the fact that you've attended the election. But what really was the thinking here? When we come back, we're going to be looking at that thinking and then see what actually did the court say and what will happen. Because remember, at the end of the day, we are still answering the question, who is the Deputy President of Kenya right now? And that question has different answers depending on who you talk to. I'll tell you what I think mine is. There you go.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Wengi wamejaribu kunieka mbali nawe, eti story flani madem, lakini penzi wangu form yangu tu ni wewe.
You're gorgeous, I adore you. Regardless of hearing what they say, I see you, Irene, Ali, Kalia, Studio. Everything I do, you know, is for you. So I'm singing through these words to show you that I care for you. Oh, girl, I'm loyal. Loyal, so loyal, oh, for you.
Wengi wamejaribu kunieka mbali nawe, eti story flani madem, lakini penzi wangu form yangu tu ni wewe. Nafasi nikupe mapenzi tele. Give me your time, don't listen to these people, no, they don't wanna see us together. Ebu songa, unave songa, I like the way you move. Watch how I say, man, whatever they wanna book, you know how we do, baby. Wamejaribu kunieka mbali nawe, eti story flani madem, lakini penzi wangu form yangu tu ni wewe. Wanadai form zangu maklande every time you out this door. But don't believe him lest they got me red-handed, cause you know them people talk. So I'm reaching out to you, girl. Yeah, yeah. Mteja hapatikani, kwako ujumbe na wacha basi. We uko wapi, baby? Nipe fursa nikueleze. Yeah, 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 yeah. Wengi wamejaribu kunieka mbali nawe, eti story flani madem, lakini penzi wangu form yangu tu ni wewe. Tu ni wewe. Form ni gani ni wewe? Form ni gani ni wewe? Form yangu tu ni wewe. Tu ni wewe. Wengi wamejaribu kunieka mbali nawe, eti story flani madem, lakini penzi wangu form yangu tu ni wewe. Tu ni wewe. Form ni gani ni wewe? Form ni gani ni wewe? Form yangu tu ni wewe. Tu ni wewe.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Our radio.
Another day, another crisis. Keyboard warrior still typing. Mini lava siku hizi spendi fighting. Na maheta hawawezi ntoa timing. Na hata wakinita guide, I know my baby will be by me. Na wakiniseti kwa IG, dawa ya watiaji huwanga silence. Niko sherehe mina vibe, nanyi munani analyze. Who I wonder why, me I'm just tryna catch a wine. We shughulika na your life. Niko sherehe mina vibe, nanyi munani analyze. Who I wonder why, I'm just tryna catch a wine. We shughulika na your life. Cheki zangu zime nice. Don't you disrespect my lover. Sinanoma my guy. Tonight I don't want no drama. Sinanoma my guy. Chaber dongingero anahero gasianda. Sinanoma my guy. Leo ni party hadi mchana. Sinanoma my guy. Sherehe na piganga na kikosi. Kwa mfuko pesa haikosi. Mademu wananitanga kiongozi. Vile mimi hutesanga Nairobi. Sele,
misele zimeripoti, chini chini tuko kwa magoti, akiwewe wewe usinirekodi, kesho nipate mmesha niposti. Niko sherehe mina vibe, nanyi munani analyze, I wonder why, me I'm just tryna catch a wine, we shughulika na your life. Niko sherehe mina vibe, nanyi munani analyze, I wonder why, I'm just tryna catch a wine, we shughulika na your life. Cheki zangu zime nice, don't you disrespect my lover. Sina noma my guy, tonight I don't want no drama. Sina noma my guy, chaber dongingeo anahero gasianda. Sina noma my guy, leo ni party hadi mchana. Sina noma my guy, sina noma my guy, sina noma my guy, sina noma my guy, chaber dongingeo anahero gasianda. Sina noma my guy, nekakana we, nekakana we, nekakana we, oh lady, nekakana we, nekakana we, nekakana we.
Sina Noma, my guy. That's that song right there. And it's now 2:47. Of course, you know that this show ends at 3. So, hey, we'll really try and put this all together. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's something we call a conservatory order. And a conservatory order is an order that comes from the court. And basically, the idea is to, just in the word, okay, I'm trying to break this down as simply as I can, to conserve matters. Conserve. Okay? In court, one of the definitions that the courts take is that a conservatory order is a judicial remedy that is granted by the court by way of an undertaking that no action of any kind is taken to preserve the subject until the motion of the suit is heard. So it is a status quo order. When you hear there's a conservatory order that has been issued, that basically is saying status quo. Let things remain as they are. So, and these are orders that are not easily issued by the court because the courts understand the power of that order. And also, it has to balance that with the fact that what happens if that order is not issued. Courts generally will look at 3 main issues to demonstrate or as they make the decision whether to grant conservatory orders. Number 1, it's that the person who applies must have what we call a prima facie case. A case which on the face of it inakaa yes, kuna kesi hapa, that has a likelihood of success. And unless the court grants that conservatory order, then there's a real danger that that person, the applicant, will suffer prejudice as a result of the violation or threatened violation of the Constitution. They're saying the Constitution is being violated if you do not grant me this order. There's a real danger that I will suffer prejudice. Number 2, the applicant has to show the court that if you do not grant me this conservatory order, the thing I am alleging violation of, the violation of the Constitution I'm talking to you about, or a threat of violation of rights, then this petition will become useless. Because if you do not grant me the order now, I will not have a chance to come back here because it will be rendered nugatory. The thing I do not want to happen will have happened already. And now, kesi imeisha. Then, you also need to look at the question of public interest. What is the public interest? Is the public interest in favor of issuing the order? Or is the public interest in favor of not issuing the order? That's how court make decisions, especially when it comes to heavy and very serious political matters, such as the one that we are dealing with as a country now. So, there are some conservatory orders that have been issued in favor of Gachagua. And basically they say that the deputy president who's been impeached, they are saying that decision to impeach, we have stayed it, which means we are now back to the guy being the deputy president, unless and until those orders are set aside. So that's number one. Number two is that Kithure Kindiki cannot now be sworn in as a deputy president, because there is a court that has specifically said, do not swear him in, do not appoint him, do not swear this guy in, okay, until this matter is heard and I determine it. So there is a deputy president in office. That's the former deputy president. Can Kithure Kindiki then go ahead to exercise deputy presidential powers without being sworn into office? That's the question really that we're asking, because people are saying, oh no, he does not need to. The constitution is very clear that when you become deputy president, you have to swear that oath under the 3rd schedule of the constitution, which deals with national oaths and affirmations. You must. If you do not swear that, then I'm sorry, you cannot exercise the functions of that office. But also, you cannot at the same time swear that oath in the absence of the Chief Justice, the Chief Registrar, and where the Chief Justice is not there, the Deputy Chief Justice. Okay? But now we are asking that question. Is there something like an acting Chief Justice? Acting Chief Justice. Is there such a thing as an acting Chief Justice? The High Court said no. That acting Chief Justice, that decision should be made by the Judicial Service Commission. Number one, Chief Justice Maraga had no authority and no business appointing anyone as an acting Chief Justice, because that appointment can only be made by the Judicial Service Commission. Okay? The court was of the view that there has to be laws that provide for the recruitment of a Chief Justice before the term of office of the incumbent expires, either on attaining 70 years of age or upon serving 10 years as a Chief Justice. Now, when it comes to the Deputy Chief Justice, the law was a bit quiet. The law is a bit quiet because then, how do we deal with this matter? So, in that acting capacity, that decision should only be made by the JSC, which means the JSC should write to the President and say, Dear Mr. President, we would like to propose the appointment of, or we are making the appointment of Philomena Mbetemwilu as the acting Chief Justice for purposes of the matter before you, all right? Due to the incapacity of the Chief Justice, which must be proved. The JSC must be sure that the Chief Justice is not in a position of capacity to handle those roles. That is what the court said. So that has to come from the JSC. The Chief Justice herself cannot just step into that role by herself. No. You have to go through the Judicial Service Commission. So, we look forward to this coming week, because remember, I have seen today one of the former cabinet secretary who sits now in the team of economic advisors. He was saying we are going to swear this guy in. Aijalishi, we'll do it. You can take the constitution and stuff it in your pocket. Politicians speak like that until they need that constitution. Then suddenly they discover human rights and conservatory orders. Never ever listen to politicians. And the court was of the view that we are not moved by public opinion. The court does not move because of public opinion. If the public today says, chinja huyo mtu, then the court moves with it. If the public tomorrow says, set him free, then no. Courts are there to interpret the law and to uphold the constitution. So all they need to do is to look at the constitution. So I've seen those some comments as well that, maybe a random judge can be appointed. I mean, I know I have said it as a joke, but no, they cannot play that role. That role can only be played by the Chief Justice or the Deputy Chief Justice acting on behalf of the Chief Justice, where the Chief Justice is incapacitated. I would be shocked, and I think if I saw the Chief Justice or the Deputy Chief Justice going to swear in Mr. Kindiki while there is a court order saying that man should not be sworn in, I would really be shocked. And for me, I would think now we have truly come to the end of the independence of the judiciary. There is an order, and the judiciary itself cannot lead or be part of disobedience of a court order. Otherwise, if that happens now, but you also have to remember as well that when President Uhuru Kenyatta refused to appoint some judges, right, he went ahead and appointed some, not all. The Chief Justice of Kenya participated in the swearing in of those who had been appointed or gazetted by the president. That time what happened is this. The Judicial Service Commission calls for interviews and then hires a few judges, some in the High Court, some in the Court of Appeal. The JSC then sends that list to the president and says, appoint these ones. The president says, wait a minute, there are people here I do not like. The NIS has told me some things about them and I don't think they should be judges. Hey? And now it becomes a question of, can the president do that? And the court say, no, the president has no power. He has no role. His role actually is just to sit there and swear this person in. You have to be there, Mr. President, just as you are seeing them being sworn in. You have no other role. You cannot come and tinker with the list. Anyway, he tinkers with the list, and our current Chief Justice goes ahead to lead judges to the State House for them to be appointed, and they are appointed. Of course, the other judges who are not appointed are eventually appointed by President William Ruto. And she came under heavy criticism for that because the question was, why are you accepting the government to give you some and not others? Okay? And maybe for her it was a matter of practicality. We'd rather have those few judges because the matter is in court, so let the court decide how that is dealt with. And you could say the Chief Justice was simply saying, the matter is in court, let us obey the court, let's see what the court says about that matter. Si kesi imefailiwa. But now, locking out everyone else, what does that mean? Let's get the ones that have come through and we move. There are those who have seen that move as sort of cowardly, that Chief Justice should have said, no, it's all or nothing. So now, as we get into this space where the question now is, will Kindiki be sworn in on Tuesday? And who will swear him in? Should the Chief Justice stand up there, yet there's a court order against it? All eyes are now on the judiciary, because remember, the new Deputy President who has been appointed by the President and who has gone through Parliament and has been approved must take the oath of office. And that oath of office must be taken before the Chief Justice and must be issued by the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary. Kenya inaendelea. In this case, the High Court said that the Deputy Chief Justice must take an oath to now become an acting Chief Justice. You don't just become a Chief Justice by someone appointing you in a letter. No. The Constitution is very clear that there's an oath that must be taken. You must take the oath. And how are you going to then take the oath if you are not actually, if you've just been appointed by way of a letter? Does the Chief Justice have such power to appoint someone as an acting Chief Justice? No, they do not. It has to go through the Judicial Service Commission. So our Constitution architecture was very interesting, and it often stupefies a lot of people and bamboozles them, and they think ikatiba bana ni unnecessary. No, the Constitution was actually looking out for every possibility, and also because we knew where we were coming from. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Sheria Dive for the day. We look forward to the new week. Let's see what the political gods will cough up as we deal with these matters. But always remember, Article 1 of the Constitution is very, very clear. All right, let's go to it. Actually, let me read Article 3. Every person has an obligation to respect, uphold, and defend this Constitution. Article 3.2. Any attempt to establish a government otherwise than in compliance with this Constitution is unlawful. Ni hayo kwa sasa. Have a lovely weekend and have a lovely long weekend. And also, we have a beautiful holiday coming up as we talk about the heroes, because this independence, it was not given to us. We fought for it. So please, celebrate a shujaa near you and drink one on behalf of all shujaas that we've lost who are looking down on us from heaven.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Tunapita kama moshi na kabla tuzame mchangani, kuna kushinda na kufeli. Inabidi ujijue tofauti ya mwalimu na mwanafunzi ni ujuzi na ujuaji. Oh, it's unbelievable that we make it this far. Undeniable, we see the promised land from afar, and it's so beautiful. No, they can't touch the fire, and you know it's not in vain. Steady tripping through the pain. Oh, man. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. On the midnight train. Siku zazidi badilika, mengi yazidi kunipita jama. Oh no, maji yalipozidi unga, hawakudhani tutafika. It's unbelievable that we made it this far. Undeniable to see the promised land from afar. So beautiful, they gon' know who we are. They keep on walking in the rain. Kuna blessings in the pain. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady, ready. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion. It's on our road to Zion. Nothing will ever deny us. Whatever it takes, keep on rocking. Whatever it takes, keep on moving. To Zion, to Zion, to Zion. Yeah. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion, to Zion, to Zion, to Zion. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion.